All right. I want to talk a little bit today about Jordan Peterson's interview with David Buss. He's an expert, apparently, on mating strategies, etc. And I think he recently wrote a book called When Men Behave Badly, or something along those lines. I haven't read the book. But this little segment caught my eye because the way Jordan talks about it, it seems to me a lot of the social sciences, what they do is they overcomplicate things, more so than they have to be. And so I wanted to play this little clip here, and I'm going to interject after it's done to show you and to tell you why I disagree with it. And then I have a meme to show you as well that kind of piggybacks on this topic. But here we go. Let me share the screen here. All right. There we go. So let's see what we have with this.
Here's another thing that could be pitted in that competition. So imagine you had men who could confer benefit and who were incapable of inflicting cost, and men who could confer benefit but were capable of inflicting cost. I think you'd see winners on that side because of that free rider problem. And that ties into what we'll discuss in relationship to the dark triad, because there's some mystery about why women seem to be attracted to these so-called dark triad traits. And I would say that they're using them as insufficient markers for the ability to or the acquisition of status. All right.
So let's stop it right there real quick. So he's saying they're using the dark triad traits as insufficient markers for status. Now, partially true, but I think Occam's razor applies here, but sometimes the simplest solution is the real solution. And oftentimes, dark triad dudes can be fun, adventurous, exciting, charismatic, give good feelings and the tingles. You cannot underestimate how powerful those things are. Now, of course, status is important, but especially so when a woman comes and they're looking to settle down. That's when that kind of thing becomes even more important. But they'll sleep with the guys with status too, of course. But Jordan, he always seems to focus on like the provision part. He focuses on the part of when a woman's trying to settle down. He neglects the part where they just kind of want to have fun and have the bad boys' children. He doesn't talk much about that part. But let's go on here.
Narcissists capitalize on that, right? Because a narcissist looks confident. And lots of confident people are competent. But some confident people aren't competent, but they can fool you. Yes. And then I think the other explanation is that if you had to choose between a benefit conferrer who could punish free riders and one who couldn't, you should pick the former. One who could deal with free riders, who could and would have.
All right. So I do agree with that part of what he said. They want to be with someone who's strong enough to punish the free riders. Absolutely, I agree with that part. Now, he mentioned that the narcissistic dudes can trick people into thinking they're competent. And that is true. They can trick them a little bit. But again, a lot of what the narcissist provides is just powerful feelings, especially in the love bombing phase. I don't even think the competence part, that doesn't even really come into play until the woman wants to settle down, right? The woman's willing to have all sorts of fun times before any sort of competence comes into this equation. And so she's willing to have her parties, go on the boats, go on the yachts. Like, then that guy, of course, who's been able to do that, it doesn't even really matter how he got there, right? He might have just inherited the money. It doesn't matter. Inheriting the money doesn't require any competence, but it's still fun for them. It's still an experience. It's still an adventure. And so women are going to like it to a certain extent, especially when they're younger. When they're younger, these things apply more so. And I'm going to stop sharing this because that's the only part of this interview I really wanted to talk about. David Buss, I think he's got some good thoughts too, but again, I think they overcomplicate things a little bit. I would love to have a conversation with both of them, and maybe one day I will. But I'm going to share a meme that I saw the other day, and it kind of piggies back on this issue here. Let's see. All right, so the meme here. Nothing but respect goes to a man that comes into your life and loves you correctly. No sneaky shit, no half-ass love, no extra bitches, no inconsistency, just you and only you. Now, what are my thoughts about that? Now, I made a comment on this post that actually got a bunch of likes, but what I said was, unfortunately for you all, a lot of the guys that would do that, most of you do not want. Like, you say a lot of things, but we gotta follow the actions, not the words. And I mentioned the bad boy thing here too, where the guy who's fun, charismatic, adventurous, confident, provides good experiences and gives the tingles, good in bed, though women will line up for that guy. And women can say all sorts of things, but I see it on my timeline every day. I see it in the news. The guy who provides those experiences and good feelings, that'll cancel out a lot of different red flags, let me tell you. And follow their actions, not their words. And a lot of people agreed, and some people said, well, can't you be the fun, exciting guy and be a good guy? It's like, well, that wasn't really the point I was making. The point I was making is the no extra bitches thing, or the no inconsistency. Well, guess what? If you provide enough fun and adventures and good in bed, etc., that part doesn't matter as much. Now, they'll complain about it, don't get me wrong, but the only time you should really worry about a woman is when they are not complaining about you. They need that kind of indignation sometimes. They gotta find things that are upsetting them about their man. And guess what? The guy who can get extra bitches, he's got social proof. Women like what other women could have and want. It's just human nature a little bit. Doesn't mean they want that guy to cheat, but sometimes in spite of themselves, he will cheat, and they'll take him back because of see above, the fun, adventures, good in bed, good feelings, the tingles. They cancel out a lot of things. And so why am I even talking about this? It's because as a man, you just got to know what's going on out there. You got to be socially calibrated and aware enough to know what's going on. Like when I was younger, I was clueless myself, to be honest about it. I was clueless. I didn't know what was up. But it took me a long time to get socially calibrated. Once I was socially calibrated, though, then things start to make sense. And once things make sense, you kind of get in the zone a little bit. And whatever you do works. So I'm not talking about how being a good dude is a bad thing. I'm just saying, focus on you, men. Focus on you and your purpose. And just have fun with it. Because that is really one of the most important things. Having fun, providing good experiences, that is where it's at. And that's what women respond to. That's absolutely what women respond to. And unfortunately for a lot of guys, the guys who are willing to have no extra bitches, the guys that are going to be very consistent, guess what? Consistency can be boring, especially for a younger woman. Inconsistency can provide some emotional spikes and some ups and downs, some volatility. And especially when they're younger, there's not so many women who are healthy enough to appreciate consistency. And like I said, women can mature out of this sometimes. Certainly not all the time. Some women struggle with this for life. But sometimes women, usually when they're older, they find a way to actually appreciate consistency. But again, not always. But in their fertility years, it's a lot less likely. They're more likely to go be attracted to the dark triad dude. They're more likely to be attracted to the guy that gives the tingles and the fun and the adventures. And of course, fame and status and social proof, they all contribute to the equation as well. But to me, until that woman wants a guy to settle in with, that's when the provider thing comes into play. That's when the competency thing comes into play. Before that, And I think I'm going to do a video soon about Michael B. Jordan and that girl, the 25-year-old that rejected him because she wasn't willing to settle down. I think that's a good case study, and I want to talk about what my thoughts on that whole situation were, because there's some women saying, see, that's Michael Jordan's own fault for wanting to settle down with a 25-year-old. He gets what he gets. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna do a video about that soon, but this is what I wanted to talk about today with Jordan Peterson and David Buss, the bad boys. And I came up with a bad boy equation today, which is the following. For every one really awesome quality a dude provides a woman, she's going to overlook 3 red flags. Now, in the big 3, if you're either good in bed and provide a lot of fun and adventurous experiences and give her the tingles, those 3 in particular, if you got those, God forbid if you have all 3 of those, Lord, she'll overlook almost anything in that regard. And you see it. I mean, I'm talking about the worst of things will be overlooked. And no one will like to admit it. And even the women who have done it, they'll have a reason why, oh, no, that had nothing to do with it. It's like, well, actions are actions, my dear. Actions are actions. But anyway, comment below what you think about this video here. I'm going to continue my Radical Self-Respect Challenge series as well. I'm going to make a video soon about if the mother of your father is a narcissist or a BPD person. And I'll talk about the struggles with that. So keep your eyes open for those things too. And I also have a few more interviews coming up. It's hard for me to tell whether people really like the interviews. They do seem to get more views than some other things. When I talk about cluster B stuff, that seems to get the most views. But although that girl Jocelyn, she did get some hate in the comments before, but some people liked her, but there was a lot of hate too. So it's hard to tell though. The more views, but more hate. I don't know which one's which, but keep your eyes open for all those things. And thank you very much for watching.